Whenever I get home, I like to do my daily walk through the garden, see how everything's doing. It's a great way to read your plants so they can tell you if they're feeling good or if there's something else you can do to help them. If we catch problems early enough, most of the time we can fix it. For instance, these peas are telling me they need a couple more wires because they're growing so tall. Most of the time I walk through here and everything is good, but other times it's not so good. Looking good. Sunflowers looking good. And I got back to my zucchinis and look what I noticed. This zucchini is not doing too good. Yesterday, this thing was big and bushy. This was my biggest, healthiest zucchini plant. I just got my first ripe zucchini off it 2 days ago. This is what it should look like. And look at that. That one's almost ready to harvest. I'm going to keep letting it grow. See how big I can get it. This is just bad news. I know it's not lack of water or heat. I'd be noticing the same thing with all my other plants, and I just watered these yesterday, and these ones are doing really well after that watering. If your zucchini has an abrupt change overnight like this, goes from healthy to being completely sad, 99% of the time your problem is squash vine borer. The second thing that could cause your zucchinis to go from looking like this to looking like this is a bacterial infection. This could come from the soil or from these squash bugs I've been picking off. When these guys bite down into the plant to feed, that bacteria hangs out on that proboscis, and that could transfer to your plants. And if you got enough of them, it could kill your plants. That's why these are chicken food. This is leaning more towards vine borer damage, just for the fact that this plant took a turn for the worst overnight. And 2 days ago, I came out here doing my inspection, and I saw 2 of these squash vine borer moths flying around my plants. And I knew what they were, but I had never seen them before because it's not something I've dealt with gardening in the suburbs. So naturally, I tried to kill the first one I saw, and they're a lot faster than I thought they'd be. Moth 1 got away and flew off into the sunset, but Moth 2 was not fast enough, and I was able to completely obliterate it. Possible it was even the same moth. Caught him over there, just messing with the squash and the pumpkins. Decided to fly over to this miniature zucchini, and that's when I gave him the old karate chop right out of the sky. After this mess, it's time to take no prisoners. Got the old racket of death. You can hear her whining. Battery's fired up. I think this will take care of any vine borer moth that comes through here. But I ain't got time to sit around here all day guarding my zucchinis, so I did a little research on ways to stop these squash vine borers, and there aren't really that many ways to do it. But I'm going to show you a couple ways that I think might work. You will know when these squash vine borers are inside your squash or zucchini plants when they start to wilt like this, and you see little holes at the base of the plant where the grub is making its way through and eating your plant. You'll also notice a little sawdust around the plant from when the grub is burrowing through and kicking it out. So I got the sawdust, but I cannot find the hole where this thing is inside this plant. I don't know if it's underneath here where I can't see, or if there's even one in there, but I do have the sawdust, so I don't know. I watched a few cool videos on how to get these grubs out of your plant. Wish I could do one for you, but I don't know where this thing is at inside here. Basically, you find the hole where the vine borer is in there, and you take a sterile sharp knife or a razor blade and split your stem, and when you open it, you'll be able to peel them bugs out. Also, if you have a hole there, you can take a thin piece of wire, maybe make a tiny hook on the end of it, stick it up the hole, and just completely mush that grub and kill them inside the plant. If you got vine borers, it's a good idea to check the base of all your plants to see if any holes have started, or if you look close, you might even be able to find the eggs and kill those before they hatch. I think that this is the best option I found on the internet on how to stop these. I really don't like putting anything metallic on my plants, but I read it on the internet, and since they can't put anything on the internet that isn't true, I'm sure this is going to work. Unless things get real bad out here, I don't intend to use any chemicals in my garden this year to get rid of garden pests. Diatomaceous earth is one thing people put around the base of a lot of their plants, but all that really does is just cut up bugs like slugs and stuff that are crawling, and they just kind of bleed out and die. Very gruesome method, but I get it. That's not going to do too much to stop these vine borers, because once they hatch here, they're going right into your stem. They're not crawling around the base of the plant. Now 7, I hear, is pretty effective, but with that, you're going to kill just about everything that comes through here, and we don't want to do that. Pollinators are already hard to come by this year. Saw tons of them earlier, and then they disappeared. I think it has something to do with the drought. There's still some flying around, but they're really not making their way to my plants like they should be. And I just don't want that stuff making its way down the food chain. You got these bugs come in here, start dying from that, then the birds eat them, and then something eats the bird, and it keeps going on and on. Not gonna have that. So let's give this a shot. So the internet says you take this foil and you wrap it around the base of your plant all the way to the soil, and then backfill the soil a little bit. Since the squash vine borer lays its eggs at the base of your plant, it will not be able to do so if you have this in place. So I'm gonna wrap this up and we'll see what she looks like. So there it is. My zucchini looks like it's ready to go to a rave party in the year 2065 with its chrome gown on now. Only time will tell if this is actually going to work. Any gardener that tells you they know everything about gardening is a liar. Every year you garden, you learn more things. This is something I'm going to try out. If any of you guys have used this method and it worked for you, let me know in the comments. You'll help me out. But that's why we grow multiple plants. They ain't all gonna make it. Got plenty of zucchinis coming in, so I know I'm still gonna get a harvest out of them. But it sucks that this zucchini has lived its life like a candle in the wind, it appears. It's a wake-up call to remain more vigilant in this area of the garden. Making sure I check all these other plants to make sure they're doing good. I want to hear some of your squash vine borer stories, so drop them in the comments. Let's talk squash vine borers. Until next time, stay strapped.